Hello, welcome to Chapter 8, Section 2. We are going to be multiplying and dividing rational expressions. And before we get to that, I'm going to back up and do some arithmetic to kind of set the stage a little bit for how we're going to do the things that we're going to be doing in this section. And this is a classic example of when you learn this back in elementary school, you probably learned different methods, and your teacher probably was really excited when you can't see me do this. Maybe I got it right. Okay. So this is where one of the places in math where it's not about getting the answer correct. It's about how you learn how to do this. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We are going to, in this video, I'm just going to simplify 24 over 36. Might have to change my marker, but that's okay. We'll get by with it for a second. All right, actually I will grab another one. All right, now, you've seen different ways of doing this. I've seen teachers do this in different ways. I've seen, I don't know, I don't even want to get into it. The one that really drives me crazy is when I see division signs. Okay, 24 divided by 12 equals 2. 36 divided by 12 equals 3. So this reduces to 2/3. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. If the only purpose of doing this was to get another fraction, 2 over 3, then yeah, those methods would work. Okay? But what gets lost is, why do those things work? Why? And yeah, that's the key. And understanding why things happen is really the difference between, do you know how to do it and do you know how to explain it? And hopefully we can get to the point to where you know how to explain it. Excuse me. Maybe it might make it a little bit more light there if I turn on my other light. Okay. So, you know, again, if I threw this up on the board and said, simplify this, I'm almost certain all of you would say 2/3 or 2 over 3. Got it. But here's what I actually want you to understand what's going on here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor. I'm going to factor the top. 24 is 2 times 12. 12 is 2 times 6, and 6 is 2 times 3. So 24 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 in primes. Excuse me. If I factor 36, that's 2 times 18, which is 2 times 9, which is 3 times 3. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why did I do that? Because this allows us to understand what's really happening behind the scenes. These lines don't mean anything mathematically, okay? I'm just doing this to like demonstrate this. So I'm going to kind of separate these things right here, okay? So these vertical lines don't mean anything. That's just me trying to break it into parts. Okay, so let's look at this part. 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. So this is just 1. Right here. Another 2 divided by 2. That equals 1. Right here, the way I wrote it, that's 2 over 3. I'm going to save that for a second. This 3 divided by 3, that's another 1. And then, of course, there's that 2 over 3. What happens when you multiply by 1? The multiplicative identity is 1. In Chapter 7, when we introduced the base of the natural logarithms, I said it's one of the 5 most important numbers. Well, 1 was one of those numbers because it's the multiplicative identity. When I multiply by 1, it doesn't change anything. So this is just 2/3. So this part where I say 2 divided by 2, We used to call that reducing. Sometimes we call it canceling. The word cancel is used in lots of different places where things kind of get eliminated. I mean, it's all just vocabulary. But there's been some research into like a little bit of confusion with the word cancel. What does it mean? You know, they canceled my favorite TV show. What does that mean? Okay. So I'll probably say cancel because I'm used to it. Like I said, it's just vocabulary, but I'll try to catch it. We also say reduce. And that also, it's one of those words that I know what it means. Some of you know what it means. But if I just said, hey, I want you to reduce this, you'd be like, yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. Okay? Let me be clear. If I say factor, that is a specific mathematical idea. That means to unmultiply is a way of saying it. In other words, if I take a number and factor it, and specifically if I factor it into primes, I break it into the numbers that if I go the other way, I multiply, I get back to where I was. Okay. If I just said factor 24, I could say 6 times 4, right? But if I say factor into primes, I'm just going to get prime numbers. That is a specific math idea. Reduce is not a specific math idea. It's just a word math teachers use because we don't have anything else. Simplify is a specific math idea, believe it or not. It means to, you know, and actually sometimes you'll see it like simplify in, or it'll say give it in like simplest terms. All right, and we have gone around and around with like the best way of saying things. Okay, so in other words, what I want all of this is to change my fraction 24 over 36 into another equivalent fraction where any of the factors that they share from numerator or denominator have been eliminated. And of course that's just way too wordy. That's the problem with being a math teacher. If I really want to explain it, I have to get wordy, which is what I'm doing, and I'm already 7 minutes into this video. So in general, this is what we're going to do. We are going to factor. We are going to reduce or cancel, whatever we want to call it. We'll say simplify, reduce, cancel, etc. And then it didn't happen in this problem, but sometimes we notice how like these paired up, these paired up, these paired up, because that's where I get the 1, 1, 1 from, and I just had 2 over 3. Well, what would have happened if I had like something extra? Then I would re-multiply. Okay, in this case I didn't have to do that, and the reason why is because for some of the problems, and I'll bring this up when we get to it, well, I'm not going to make you do the re-multiplying step for this. So, but I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to make you do it. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea. I'll say more about this in class. We're going to connect our rational expressions, what the heck is that, with these fractions that we're going to reduce. All right, I'll see you in the next video.